Hi guys, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. I'm kind of excited about today's tutorial because I think it's fairly easy, but it has a beautiful result. So, although you gotta be careful with those ones because typically, sometimes they don't work out like how you thought it was gonna work out and you think it's easier than it actually is. But we will try. So I am painting in landscape position. We're gonna start out with the sky. I'm gonna go like a tad bit above the halfway point and just paint my horizon line as straight as I can. Oh my gosh, see what I mean? Let's try that. I think I've gotten used to the grabby paintbrushes, which have a different stiffness to them, and so to be a bit more mindful with my brush strokes. Okay, so we're just painting this like a lovely blue color on this side, and then it's gonna fade into a gray. And then this part is gonna be kind of this darker blue gray. Sort of like this. And this is all going to be nice and light if we can help it. Just pick up some yellow. So I'm trying to make it look like there's sun kind of poking through the stormy clouds on this side. I know that it's gonna dry to be much lighter than it looks, so I'm trying to be mindful of that as I'm painting. Because it does spread upwards very easily. But I'm gonna leave that for now. Actually, before I leave it, I'm gonna do this one method that I do sometimes. I'm taking toilet paper and just dabbing out like this little portion there. Before fading it back in, because if I don't do that, it'll just keep blending in and in and in, and it's even doing that now. I need to pick up a little bit of yellow. Okay, that's not a little bit. That is not a little bit of yellow. Okay, Julia, you are getting out of control. I should have just left it. Okay. My daughter I don't know if you can hear her. She's very happy at the moment. Okay, let's leave this sky before I destroy it. So, rinse my brush out really well. I'm gonna pick up like a, I wanna call it a sand color because we're painting sand. And you're gonna leave a white gap for the water because this is a beach. I don't know, I probably failed to mention that at the beginning, but we're painting a beach. So I'm gonna leave a small white gap and it's gonna taper to be a little bit larger on this side. So it's gonna start about here and then do something like that. Okay, now this is more of a yellow than a sand color. Not a big fan of that, so I'm gonna probably go back in with brown. Mix some brown. Why does this look nothing like sand? Why doesn't this look like sand? What am I doing wrong here? Maybe it has to be just ultra watered down brown. Probably. Maybe that will. I'll figure it out in a moment. Okay. So, why is this not the color that I want it to be? I was just checking because I heard like these slapping sounds that our baby makes, and I had to check that she is, my husband is watching her, but I can hear him doing the dishes. So I've done the same thing where I'm doing the dishes and kind of watching her out of the corner of my eye, but that baby can move fast. So I was just checking that she's not into something that she shouldn't be. Okay, so I'm painting sand here and I'm trying to give it a little bit of low light, highlight so that it looks nice. I'm having a little bit of trouble with that though because I haven't determined the right color for the sand. I'm not sure why it looks the way that it looks. Anyways, so in the meantime, while this is drying, I'm just gonna pick up some navy blue and I'm gonna paint in the water here. So I want to leave white gaps between the sand and the sky. So I'm just being mindful of that. And as we get to this area here, I want it to be a much more, I don't want to say abstract because that's not really what I mean when I say that. It's more, I'm going to dry my paintbrush. It's still not dry enough. And kind of scribble with my paintbrush like this. It's even like I might go in with acrylic paint later, and because there's too much, I didn't want it to be so blue, like I wanted there to be a lot more white. So, but we can deal with that in a moment. So what is gonna make this whole painting come together are the, I don't know if they're piers, they're like wooden pillars that I am assuming used to have a deck on top. Like it used to be a pier perhaps, and now it is, the pier was washed away by the ferocious waves. That's what I'm going with. So while I'm thinking about what to do there, I'm just gonna use acrylic paint and quickly paint in some white here. There's this, I thought of this at this moment, but there's this YouTuber couple that I used to watch a lot when I was much younger, which is crazy that they've been on YouTube for that long, but she has such a calm personality. Like if I was an ideal wife, I would want to have her personality because she's just very calm. And I've been trying to embrace that a little bit more because I would say I am definitely not calm. I am intense. If you can't tell by my frustration in some of my videos. And why am I even saying that? Why is this relevant at this moment? It just popped into my head because I was watching one of her and her husband's videos. Sorry, pause that random story. I'm gonna blow dry this because I want it to be completely dry. And then I'm going to add those pillars that I was talking about. I really wish I had made the sky more intense and dark because I think we're really losing out on some of that dramaticism. That's not a word. The dramatic look by leaving it the way it is. But I'm afraid, like I like how this looks, I just wish it was darker. And I don't want to go in and, no, you know what? I am gonna go in and do it because if I don't, like, I'm not finishing the job. It'll give this a chance to dry too before we do too much more. So I'm going in, I'm doing exactly the same thing, or trying to at least, as I did the first time. So I got my blue, and then I'm gonna grab that color over here. So on the whole topic of being a good wife and all of that, one very nice, unexpected benefit of becoming a mom is the community that I have found in this season of life. It's been really nice to be able to have people around me that are going through similar things and being able to spend time with them and ask questions and just be a part of something. And I wouldn't have had that, obviously, if I wasn't a mom. So, and I get it's totally different. Like, I think definitely part of the reason why I have that is because I live in a very small village. So it's easier to develop that, I have found. Or to find that, rather. also. I know we're like really far away from this stage of life, but I would like to homeschool my kids, and I've already immersed myself in that kind of culture, and which is so awesome that is such a prevalent part of where I live. Like, a lot of people homeschool here, which is so awesome. Like, you find community just in that. Sorry, pause my monologue here. I'm taking white watercolor because when you add white, you can create these really nice cloudy effects. So okay, I like that a lot more. I know it's gonna dry and not be as intense, but it's better than it was. So I'm gonna let that dry. And while I do that, actually, I'm just gonna go in quickly with that same color over the water portion. And this will help create a little bit of a contrast as well. Not too much there, just a little bit. And I'm gonna let this dry, and then we'll paint on those pillars. So I really just needed the sand and a bit of the water to be dry. The sky is still wet, that's fine. I'm not painting pillars on the sky. So you can go ahead and grab like brown, black, brown mixed with black, whatever color you want your pillars to be. In fact, you could even start with just brown and then add black later, depending on what it ends up looking like. I think I might just do that. I have gray in my brown. Okay, so I probably should have thought about this earlier, like drew with pencil the pillars to have a bit of a reference. Yikes, okay. Yeah, I definitely should have done that. Maybe let's just quickly go in with a pencil here, just for a line of reference. So they're gonna start about here and kind of go in like this. Maybe curved a bit. And then I don't know if that helped very much. So I'll just start with the outside pillars first. So one piece of advice is I would keep the top of your pillars roughly the same height. Like, they'll obviously raise a bit, but the biggest difference that you want is in the bottom part. Like, the bottom part is what will shorten. So like, you can see that the top is like a tiny bit higher than the previous one, but it's quite a bit shorter on the end. So just keep that in mind as you're painting these. And the further that you go away, the closer that they'll be together as well. I'm just a little nervous here because it's very easy to mess this up. And this is sort of what is going to make everything come together. So I just want to be mindful. So there we go. And we can even raise these a little bit. And you know what, now that I think of it, these should have been much thicker, like the ones that are closest to the viewer should be thicker. And then they get thinner as they go. Now this side is a bit more complicated because they're even closer to the viewer and you want them to look a little bit realistic. So for instance, this one, like it'll be really close so you can see the top, like so. And then they're sort of overlapping one another. So this one will be like this. I'm gonna try and leave a gap. And then I can deal with that gap later. So this side is definitely a bit more challenging because of the perspective. I should have started these further inwards, but obviously I can't do that now. So it's a little bit more rough around the edges. I'm actually, I don't know if I should do this. Tempted to add some pillars in the center here, but I don't know if that's the best idea. Now, the light is gonna come from this side. I know the sun is here, but this is the blue sky. So I'm gonna have the light kind of angling this way. So because of that, I would like to take a little bit of white acrylic paint and just add that to the outside of these pillars. And then on the other side, I'm gonna add a little bit of black as well. Take that black that I mentioned I would paint, and that's just on the outside here. And for actually this part, I should have painted these even closer together as it went further this way. Now, what is gonna make this look a lot better than it does now are the shadows that we add. So I'm going to switch to a slightly larger brush. I'm going to take the same original like grayish brown that I used to paint these pillars and just water it down quite a bit. And that's what I'm going to use for the shadows. So I know it doesn't make sense because the sun is, even in this reference painting that I'm looking at, it does not make sense because the sun is also here, but I'm going to just do it the same way because it looks good, even though it doesn't make too much sense with the perspective. So you're just starting at the base of each post and just painting out a shadow. And it's going to become a little more blurry as you kind of move this way, obviously, because all of them are a lot closer together. So hopefully that makes sense. So I hope that looks a little better with the shadow. I don't know, something's not right here. Something is missing, in my humble opinion. It's almost as if these posts are just not as tall as they should be. So I am lengthening them. Not sure that that did that much, but it is what it is. Now, what else can I do? So there's something missing. Maybe we can make the base of the shadow a little bit darker, because that is where a shadow is darkest, is right at the base. Okay. There's something I would add here. I don't want to add seagulls because I feel like I had birds unnecessarily to so many paintings. But this is missing something. And what if we add footprints? Footprints to the sand. So pretend, obviously they'll be smaller over here. And then they'll get larger as we move closer to the viewer. I'm not sure that that did very much. Maybe they need to be a little bit darker. Something is missing here. Maybe a ship would be nice to paint in the background. I wish I could have live feedback, like, hey, why don't you add this? Or why don't you add that? I have to kind of think on the spot here. What I wish I would have done before I added the pillars is texture the sand a little bit more. Because right now it's looking very bright in some places, which doesn't look that realistic. And maybe that's what's making it look not so fabulous. But I think I might just leave it here, leave it where it is. I would really like to add some kind of very specific line or feature to kind of define this. But adding a tree here obviously doesn't make any sense. And I wish I knew how to paint boats, because then I'd add a little sail in the distance or something, like even like a beached boat, but I just don't have this skill set to paint something like that. So I guess we're just gonna have to leave it there. As tempted as I am to just like add a little tree branch or something like that. Something is, maybe I'll just try and paint a sail. This might end up being a bad decision, but I'm not sure that was a good decision, my friends. I really don't like how this turned out. I'm gonna just leave it there. As much as this is bothering me because it feels very unfinished. You know, it would be nice if I had the skill set, I would paint a seagull really close up right here, but I just don't. Oh, what if we just paint a little sitting perched bird here? What color are seagulls? They're kind of white and gray. I'm gonna leave it like that because if I try adding any more detail, I believe I will ruin it. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm gonna peel the tape off and call it a day. Please let me know what you would have added to make it look better and more complete. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.